Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our first week of the October Level 2 Practice Community. Thank you so much for your company. This week we have a really special practice. Well, I think it's special, and there's a little bit of technical detail that I'd like to offer us right at the top of the set for your information and edification. Okay, so a couple of strong influences that are hitting us this week. The first is that we are experiencing the tail end of a super full moon, which is the first of three in a series, and the closing of an eclipse portal. If you're not really into the astrology, if you are rolling your third eye at me as we speak, then you can just sort of ignore the next 10 seconds or so. But this full moon has been a really special but very strong full moon. So if you feel like you have been in any way affected in terms of your sleep, your emotions, your energy, then know that you are not alone. It's a doozy. And so we will be working very consciously with Chandra Vedana this morning as one of our practices to help us align well with that energy. The second thing that has been happening consistently over the last month is a lot of wild and woolly weather as Vata dosha works overtime to push heavy kapha out of the way so that pitta and the yang half of the year can shine through. Now, this means that likely all of the doshas are aggravated. So again, if you've been feeling a little bit all over the place, it is a bit, unfortunately, par for the course this time of year. Now, we are also asked this time of year to be implementing practices that are stimulating and mobilizing and heating. And so we have a little bit of a conundrum in that, on the one hand, we need to mobilize kapha, we need to stimulate and warm so that it can move easily through the channels without negatively impacting us during spring. But we also want to be really careful not to cause any further aggravation. And so this morning we will be working with the shadow practice of Nadi Shodhana, our Analom Vilom Nadi Shodhana. And there's one more thing that we'll be doing this morning. Gee, she's got a lot on the docket. We will be practicing or experimenting gently this month with breath holds at the end of the exhale. So different to the work we were doing last month. The breath holds at the end of the exhalation are a really good place to start your experimentation with kumbhaka. And more to the point, the pause after exhale is where we start to develop that tolerance to carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is a very misunderstood molecule in that we actually want to have really good tolerance to CO2. CO2, as we start to allow it to build up in the system, actually really positively benefits our cardiovascular health, our immunity, our nervous system. I don't have time to tell you how beneficial CO2 is. And perhaps the one standout irony of CO2 is that it's the molecule that signals the release of oxygen into the system. So it's that strange catch-22 there. So just so that you know where we're going with the practice this week. Okay, thank you for listening. We will get into it. So we're going to start off with a neck check. So when you're ready, just really slowly articulating the bones in the neck and noticing how your neck has arrived with you in your practice this morning. Paying close attention to the areas where you intuit there's any catching, compression, tension, just anything that maybe doesn't feel quite as well aligned as it could be. You could even open and close the mouth, please, and give the jaw a little bit of a wiggle now. Good. And now that we have had a feel into the neck, we're going to work with 3 different kriyas that target the alignment of the neck via the tongue's relationship with the neck. So we've got a new one first up this morning. It's tongue isometric. So in a moment, I'm going to ask you to stick out your tongue, hold up your index finger, and push your tongue quite firmly against the index finger without allowing any tension or strain to accrue in the jaw, of course, and keeping the breath moving. So hold up an index finger. It doesn't matter which side you start on. Protrude your tongue out. Keep your eyes still, your head still, and your breath moving. And now press your tongue against your index finger like this. Good. Hold that, please. And hold. Keep the breath moving and hold. Tongue pushing against the index finger and hold. And relax. To the other side now, holding up the other index finger, protruding the tongue and pressing the tongue really quite firmly without creating tension against that index finger. Hold and hold, keeping the breath moving. Good, and letting that go. Moving into our tongue circles next, please establish your eye gaze on a point about 2 meters in front of you that is not going to move. Keeping your head really still, draw 10 slow circles with the tip of your tongue around the inside of your lips like this. Good. 10 slow circles one way. Taking your time. And once you've done 10 circles one direction, please switch that up and complete the other side. If you do have any weakness in the tongue, any misalignments or vulnerabilities in the neck, this can actually be quite challenging. Please persevere if you can, even if it's a bit uncomfortable. If you're still completing your 10 circles, of course, finish. But otherwise, when you are ready, we'll move on to our Jivha Bandha, so our 3rd and final tongue kriya, sealing the tongue up against the roof of the mouth, initiating your natural sucking or swallowing reflex. Feeling the tongue has sealed itself nicely against the palate, begin to hinge the lower jaw open slowly, letting the tissues of the tongue receive a lovely stretch and stimulation. Good. And holding there, when you feel that conversation starting to arise in the tongue, in the neck, in the jaw, just pause and hold that. And for my students who are really very well versed with the Jivha Bandha, you might choose, when you feel the peak of that stretch, to gently tilt the chin up toward the ceiling, bringing it more deeply into the platysma, the hyoid and the infrahyoid, and perhaps even gently altering the angle of the jaw and the chin as you hold that stretch, but nothing that creates any tension. All right. And now that we've performed our 3 tongue maneuvers, we'll do another neck check. So just slowly, again, feeling into the neck. It never ceases to amaze me, in my body anyway, how potent that relationship is between the tongue and the whole deep front line of fascia, which incidentally encompasses the respiratory diaphragm. which is obviously very apropos for our pranayama. And now we'll come to settle. Please, my friends, closing down your eyes, or if you prefer, you can work with the eyes just slightly open. We'll keep the eye gaze down toward the nose without any strain and come to meet the breath. Moving the breath very slowly and very smoothly in and out through the nose. And for now, just resting your awareness gently within the channels of the nostrils as you connect with the rhythm, the movement of the breath. Noticing how the air feels as it moves into the body, the slightly cool temperature of that external air, and the sensation as the exhalation leaves the nostrils, a slightly warmer temperature. You might notice that one of your nostrils feels more or less open than the other. A reminder that if at any stage during your practice, one of your nostrils becomes blocked to the point of becoming an issue, you can always pop your tennis ball or a rolled up pair of socks or something similar beneath the opposite armpit and just leave it there and continue with the practice. Can you soften through the face, the shoulders, and allow some of your attention to drop down into the rib cage? Encouraging a very free and full movement of the ribs as you breathe. You might like to turn the palms of your hands to face the ceiling. This will result in a very slight external rotation of the upper arm bones, which may allow a little bit more freedom in the rib cage. And when you are ready, please begin to invoke your Ujjayi technique with a very subtle hug of the windpipe toward the back of the throat. This is the exact same sensation as when you are fogging up a pane of glass, but keep the breath moving through the nose. Directing awareness to the qualities of your Ujjayi, the sound and the sensation of the breath. And inviting yourself to create a sound and a sensation that are very smooth, very subtle, and very well distributed across the length of each inhale and each exhale. Tongue rests against the roof of the mouth. Eyes gazing gently down toward the nose. Can you slow down and smooth out the breath? Inviting yourself to become curious now as to the different qualities of the inhale versus the exhale. The inward, upward, expansive and filling feeling of the inhalation. The outward, downward, emptying sensation of the exhale. And when you are ready, please begin now to take note of how long your inhalations are this morning. Counting a few consecutive rounds of breath. And once you have ascertained where the inhale has landed, please bring your exhalation up to meet it. Keep your mind anchored, stabilized in the count. Your physical senses free to engage with the felt experience of the breath. Stay with this. Tongue rests against the roof of the mouth. Eye gaze toward the nose. Smooth sound and texture of the breath. The steady rhythm of the count. Taking our Samavritti 1 and moving into Samavritti 2, our box breathing pattern now. Adding a pause at the top of the inhale and another at the end of the exhale. Keeping each of the 4 sides of the breath even. allowing yourself to become curious as to the different qualities now of the four sides of the breath. The rising, swelling ascendancy of the inhalation, that space of contained expansion at the top of the inhale. The smooth drop down of the exhalation, and the peaceful, vacuous space after exhale. As you pay close attention to the four-sided breath, allow yourself to notice the borders, the boundaries. Can you allow the spaces between the four sides of the breath to be very gentle? Stay with this. At the end of your next exhale, letting go of that pattern, letting go of the count. Allow your breath to return to its natural quiet state. And simply sit and rest in the steadiness that you have created. If you feel the need to readjust your seat, please do so now. We have reached the point in our practice this morning where we will be having a very gentle and curious exploration of the space after exhale. There will be no counting this week. What I'll ask you to do in a moment is to re-establish the ujjayi, and the pattern will be something like this. A smooth ujjayi inhale through the nose, of course, a smooth ujjayi exhalation, and then a pause. And as you pause, invite yourself to just notice the sensations that arise within the body. The sensation of oxygen hunger can be quite uncomfortable. The invitation is to sit with this mild discomfort and allow yourself to experience yourself as separate from the sensation and to just watch. Now, the tricky part is that we need to take the next inhalation very calmly using the ujjayi technique and the next exhale very calmly. So if when you take the succeeding inhale, it's very greedy or rushed. It means you've held the breath for too long. Now, this is an interesting point that is especially relevant to us Westerners who tend to like to do things the hard way and go all at it. If you stretch the pause, if you stretch the breath hold beyond reasonable capacity and the succeeding inhale has to be really greedy, then there's no benefit. There's no benefit at all. So please don't worry about how long you're holding. Just hold until the point where you feel uncomfortable. Let yourself feel uncomfortable before tension or strain creeps in. I'll coach you through the first few rounds, but then leave you in some silence to explore this on your own. Please reconnect now with your ujjayi. Take your time to re-establish that lovely velvety texture and tone in the breath. No counting, just a smooth cycle. A rise and a fall. At the end of your next exhale, pause. Relax the belly. Check the tongue. As any sensations arise, allow yourself to watch them. Keep the belly and shoulders relaxed. And when you feel the need, take a calm ujjayi inhale through the nose, a calm ujjayi exhale through the nose, and then pause and wait and watch. Keeping the shoulders and belly relaxed, the face soft. And when you feel the need, take your next calm, smooth ujjayi inhale. Your calm ujjayi exhale. And then pause and wait and watch. No tension or strain, even in the face of discomfort. And remain working with this pattern. At the end of your next round, allow your breath to return to its natural quiet state. And take a moment to sit in the space that you've created. If you sense that there is any tension, please cleanse the pranic palate with a couple of rounds of your reset breath. Bring the tongue back to rest against the hard palate and settle back into your ujjayi now. Again, no counting. Just a smooth and even rise and fall. This morning, as we work with the alternate nostril techniques, the invitation is to just keep the attention moving from one nostril to the other. If it is your preference, of course, you might use your fingers to seal the nostrils. At the end of your next exhalation, bring attention to the left nostril as you inhale. At the top of the inhale, shift awareness to the right nostril as you exhale. Inhale, left. Exhale, right. Inhale, left. Exhale, right. Inhale, left. Exhale, right. Please continue on your own. Sincere attention in the nostrils. Smooth and subtle ujjayi technique. Stay with this. At the end of your next exhale through the right nostril, come back to settle in an even inhale and exhale through both nostrils. As we shift gears into our Anulom Vilom Nadi Shodhana. At the end of your next exhalation, bringing attention to the right nostril. Inhale, right. Exhale, left. Inhale, left. Exhale, right. 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 Please continue on your own. Full, sincere attention in the nostrils. A smooth, subtle ujjayi. At the end of your next exhale through the right nostril, letting go of that pattern. And moving carefully and gently onto your back for your shavasana. As we enter our shavasana and prepare to digest and assimilate our practice, please ensure that your body feels fully supported. And this morning, we will be working consciously with the sense of hearing, of listening. In the Ayurvedic tradition, we align most readily with the element of space or akasha through our sense of hearing, listening. As you establish yourself comfortably on the earth, allow yourself to listen carefully without reaction or judgment to any and all sounds that arise. The small sounds of your internal workings, the sounds from within the room around you, the sounds of the household perhaps beginning to stir, and any distant sounds of traffic, weather, or birds. witnessing the moment through your sense of hearing, and wait for the sound of my voice to summon you back. And allowing your breath to deepen slightly, sensing the movement of your rib cage against the earth, the feeling of your skin against your clothing. Taking some very gentle movements into your fingers, into your toes, and gently rotating the wrists and ankles. Swallowing to lubricate the throat. And taking whatever gentle movements feel appropriate in your body before carefully rolling onto your favorite side. And gently curling your way to an upright seat. As you arrive in your upright seat, remaining for just another moment with your eyes closed, take a moment to notice how you have arrived here at the end of your practice, at the beginning of your day. Floating your palms to meet one another in front of your heart, or if you prefer, just resting one hand on your chest and the other on your belly. As we punctuate the end of our session together with gratitude and acknowledgement, offering our thanks for the gift of this day, our lives and our health, and extending our respects and acknowledgements to one another and to the custodians of this living tradition. As always, dear friends, my most sincere gratitude and respect to you all. Thank you so much for your company this week. Have a wonderful day. If you've got any questions, please reach out to me, and look out for the recording and a little bit more information on CO2 tolerance coming out to you shortly. Lots of love. Mwah. Okay, bye.